What's up, YouTube? It's Reggie again, and this is the same day that I just recorded the other video. But God has called me to read Numbers today, like fully finish it. I'm on chapter 33. I read like another chapter before I decided to hop on video, but God's really just telling me I need to finish this, and I'm gonna read it and then break it down, read the study notes, all that, and let's just get into it. It says, "These are the journeys of the children of Israel, which went forth out of the land of Egypt with their armies under the hand of Moses and Aaron. And Moses wrote, they are going out according to their journeys by the commandment of the Lord. These are their journeys according to their goings out. And they departed for Ramesses in their first month, on the 15th day of the first month, on a morrow after the Passover of the children of Israel, went out with a high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians. For the Egyptians buried all their firstborn, which the Lord hath smitten among them. Upon their gods also the Lord executed judgments. And the children of Israel removed from Ramesses pitched into Succoth. And they departed from Succoth and pitched in Etham, which is in the edge of the wilderness. And they removed from Etham and turned again into Pihahiroth, which is before Baal-zephon. And they pitched before Middlegol. And they departed from Pihahiroth and passed through the midst of the sea into the wilderness, and went 3 days' journey into the wilderness of Etham, and pitched in Miram. And they removed from Miram and came into Elim. And in Elim were 12 fountains of water, and 60 palm trees, and they pitched there. And they removed from Elim and encamped by the Red Sea. And they removed from the Red Sea and encamped in the wilderness of Sin. And they took their journey out of the wilderness of Sin and encamped in Dukath. And they departed for Dukath and encamped in Elish. And they removed from Elish and encamped in Rephidim, where was no water for the people to drink. And they departed from Rephidim and pitched into the wilderness of Sinai. And they removed from the desert of Sinai and pitched at Kibroth Hittarava. And they departed from Kibroth and encamped at Hazeroth. And they departed from Hazeroth and pitched in Riddim. And they departed from Riddim and pitched in Rimizah. And they departed from Rimizah and pitched in Lebanon. And they removed from Lebanon and pitched at Rizah. And they journeyed from Rizah and pitched in the Kedeloth. And they went from Kedeloth and pitched in Shipper. And they removed from Mount Shepher and encamped in Heradah. And they removed from Heradah and pitched Makaloth. And they removed from Makaloth and encamped at Tav. And they departed from Tav and pitched at Torah. And they removed from Torah and pitched in Middakoth. And they went from Middakoth and pitched in Mahanath. And they departed from Mahanath and encamped in Moseroth. And they departed from Moseroth and pitched in Bunajah. And they removed from Bunajah and they encamped at Hor Haggadah. And they went from Hor Haggadah and pitched at Jibbaruth. And they removed from Jibbaruth and they encamped at Abranah. And they departed from Abranah and encamped at Ezra and Gabis. And they removed from Ezra Gaber and pitched in the wilderness of Zin, which is Kadesh. And they removed from Kadesh and pitched in Mount Hor, in the edge of the land of Edom. And Aaron the priest went into the Mount Hor at the commandment of the Lord and died there. In the 40th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the first day of the fifth month. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died in Mount Hor. And the king Arad the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south in the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the children of Israel. And they departed from Mount Hor and pitched in Zalmon. And they departed from Zalmonah and pitched in Punan. And they departed from Punan and pitched in Obuth. And they departed from Obuth and pitched in Ejir Ariba, in the border of Moab. And they departed from Eam and pitched in the Dijabon Gad. And they removed from Dibion Gad, and they encamped in Almon Gabolinium. And they removed from Alamana Delibium and pitched in the mountains of Abrinum before Nebu. And they departed from the mountains of Abrium and pitched in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho. And they pitched by Jordan from Behavis even unto Abel Shittim in the plains of Moab. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, speaking, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye are passed over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then ye shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their pictures, and destroy all their molten images, and quiet pluck down all their high places, and ye shall dispose their inhabitants of the land and dwell therein. For I have given you the land to possess it. And ye shall divide the land by lot and for inheritance among your families. And to the more ye shall give, the more inheritance, and to the fewer ye shall give the inheritance, the less inheritance. Every man's inheritance shall be in place with his lot falleth. According to the tribes of your fathers ye shall inherit. But if ye will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that those which ye let remain shall be pricks in your. And then it goes to the next page. Then it says, in the speaker notes, it says, Control of the given territory, drive out the inhabitants, and destroy all cultic objects of false religion. The patterns of they departed from removed from one place, and they pitched in echoes. The pattern of Journey's song of chapter 9, verses 18 through 23, providing continual in the literacy style of these two sections in the book. The first cycle from Ramses to the Red Sea provides the date and setting of the miraculous and historic deliverance of Israel from bondage in Egypt, highlighting the death of the firstborn in Egypt would provide a redemption for the firstborn Israelites and victory over the gods of Egypt. From the wilderness of Sin to Hazareth, Mount Sinai is not mentioned, though the Sinai wilderness is included. The details of the year-long and the vindication of the mountain of God are found in Exodus verses 19 through 40. One of the key questions in attempting to locate these sites is the location of Mount Sinai. Through the centuries, more than 20 different mountains have been suggested. These include Jebel Habla in the northeast Sinai Peninsula near the way of the wilderness of Shur, Jebel Shin Bishr in the western central Jebel Serbal, the traditional Jebel Musa in the southern Sinai region, Har Karkum in the Paran wilderness, several mountains in the northern western Saudi Arabia have also been prospected, including Jebel southwest of Aquana. In the request of Moses before Aaron to journey 3 days into the wilderness to celebrate a festival to the Lord, is to be applied to the quest for the mountains locale. Then the sacred summit must be closer to Egypt border fortress than most of the mountains except Jebel Sinbishir or perhaps another mountain in western Sinai. The clearest statement regarding this this initiator is found in Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 2, which states that the distance from Araba to Kadesh Barnea via Ezron was an 11-day journey. None of these sites in the third or fourth cycles can be accurately located. Most of them are unknown to the rest of Scripture, later history, and modern historical geographers. Where was I? 3 days into the wilderness to celebrate a festival to the Lord is applied to the quest of the mountains locate. Then the sacred mountain must be closer to the Egyptian border fortress than most of the mountains except for Jebel Sinbishir or perhaps another mountain in western Sinai. The clear statement regarding this, I already read that. Okay, I'm on this page. The fifth cycle includes death from Mount or on the first high priest Aaron, who like Moses was prohibited from entering the promised land because of his rebellion at the water of Meribah. The reference to the king Herod reminds the reader of the victory over the Canaanite armies that had once defeated Israel soon after the Israelites refused to enter the promised land. From Punan to the plains of Moab, the sites mentioned in the sixth cycle are in the vindication of the Abram south of the Dead Sea and the Transjordan region of Edom, Moab, and Ammon. The seventh and final cycle of victory matches stages would begin from the plains of Moab directly opposite the city of Jericho. This Canaanite city would become the initial victory for the Israelites when they faithfully followed the Lord's commandments to march around the city on successful days. These idols were a representative of pagan gods, a record of perception of reality conceived of a worshiper or a craftsman. Molten images were molten forms of deities from clay or molten metal such as copper or bronze. High place translates the Hebrew Bamoth, referring to a cultic worship center which may or may not indicate an elevated site or structure. All forms of local idolatrous worship were to be eradicated from the land, lest the Israelites be tempted to adopt them. The statement of conditional judgment of Israel gives evidence of the literature and thematic unity of the Pentateuch, paralleling the message of judgment. And then it continues, eyes and thorns in your side, and shall vex you in the land where ye dwell. Moreover, it shall come to pass that I shall do unto you as I thought to do to them. And I think that's basically saying that if they didn't act and do the words of God, that just the same way he was telling them that he would get rid of all the idolatry and all that stuff, he would do that to the Israelite and get rid of them if they didn't follow his commands and what he was telling them to do. Okay, and then Numbers chapter 34 starts. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, command the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye come into the land of Canaan, this is the land that shall fall unto you for an inheritance, even the land of Canaan with the coast thereof. Then your south quarter shall be from the wilderness of Zin along by the coast of Edom, and your south border shall be the outmost coast of the salt sea eastward. And your border shall turn from the south to the sin of Acherbim, and pass out to Zin. And going forth thereof shall be from the south of Kadesh Barnea, and shall go to Hazar Ada, and pass on to Asmon. And the border shall fetch a compass from Asmon from the river of Egypt, and that the going out of it shall be at the sea. And as for the western border, ye shall even have the sea for a sea border. This shall be your west border. This shall be your north border from the great sea. Ye shall point out from you Mount Hor. And from Mount Hor ye shall point out your border unto the entrance of Hamanah, and going forward to the Baal Azida. And the border shall go to Zipharon, and going out from it shall be Hazeron. This shall be your north border. And ye shall point out the eastern border from Hazarah to Shephanah, and the coast shall go down from Shephanah to Rabbalah on the east side of An. And the border shall descend, and it shall reach the side of the sea of the Chinah eastward. And the border shall go down to the Jordan, and the going out of it shall be at the salt sea. This shall be your land with the coast thereof round about. And Moses commanded the children of Israel, saying, this is the land which ye shall... This is the land which ye shall inherit by lot, which the Lord commanded to give the 9 tribes, and to have tribe. For the tribe of the children of Reuben, according to the house of their fathers, and the tribe of the children of Gad, according to the house of their fathers, have received their inheritance. And half the tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance. The 2 tribes and a half tribe have received their inheritance on this side Jordan near Jericho, eastward towards the sun rising. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, these are the names of the men which shall divide the land unto you. Eleazar the priest, Joshua the son of Nun, and ye shall have one prince of every tribe to divide the land by inheritance. And the name of the men are of the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh, and the tribe of the children of Simeon, Shemuel the son of Amminadab, of the tribe of Benjamin, Alada the son of Chalcel, and the prince of the children of Dan, Buka the son of Juglah, the prince of the children of Joseph, for the tribe of the children of Haneliah the son of Ephadah, and the prince of the tribe of the children of Ephraim, Camille the son of Sidium, and the prince of the tribe of the children of Zebulun, Elazaphan the son of Parnach, and the prince of the tribe of the children of Israel, Paltan the son of Azan. And the prince of the tribe of the children of Naphtali, Peta the son of Amada. These are those These are they whom the Lord commanded to divide the inheritance unto the children of Israel in the land of Canaan. Chapter 35, it says, And the Lord spake unto Moses in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho, saying, Command the children of Israel that they give unto the Levites an inheritance of their possession, cities to dwell in it. And ye shall also give the Levites suburbs for the cities round about them. And ye shall give unto the Levites shall reach from the wall of the city and outward 1,000 cubits round about. And ye shall measure from without the city on the eastward 2,000 cubits, and the south side 2,000 cubits, and on the west side 2,000 cubits, on the north side 2,000 cubits. And the city shall be in the midst. This shall be to them the suburbs of the city. And among the cities which ye shall give unto the Levites, there shall be 6 cities for refuge, which ye shall appoint for the manslayer, that he may flee 30 thither. And to them ye shall add 40 and 2 cities, and all the cities which ye shall give to the Levites shall be 40 and 8 cities. These shall give with their suburbs. And the cities of which ye shall give be the possession of the children of Israel. From them that have many ye shall give many, but from them that have few ye shall give few. Everyone shall give his cities unto the Levites according to his inheritance which he inherit. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye can come over Jordan into the land of Canaan. And then the speaker notes say, Just as God intended for Israel to displace the Canaanites, so he could drive the Israelites from the promised land if they failed to obey his commands. The coast of the promised land represented the limitations of the Lord of Canaan during the late Bronze Age, were the ideal settings for the national boundaries. The south quarter of the border began with the wilderness as in from the original scouts returned with their report. The line extended northeast to the southern end of the Salt Sea, avoiding the Edomite territory on the west side of Abra, and then moving westward from the wilderness as in, gradually turning more northwards. The border ran along the edge of Edomite territory in order to avoid any further conflicts with those who had prohibited passage for the Israelite when they moved into the Transjordan. The description continues to generalize south of the accent of Akron and on the south of the side of Kadesh Barnea, and extending towards the river of Egypt, just south of Raphia and Gaza Strip. The border then followed the brook northwest to the Mediterranean Sea. The western border was a natural barrier formed by the Great Sea, the Mediterranean. The north border reached from the Mediterranean towards Mount Or, perhaps today Jibra. The entrance of Hamara is generally identified with modern Laboa, near one of the sources of the Amorite Ordonance River. Hamath was the northernmost extent of the land surveyed by the 12 Israelite scouts, according to chapter 13, verse 21. It was also the northern boundary of the Israelite kingdom during the monarchy of David and Solomon. The east border began with the site of Hazorah, which would have been associated with either the oasis of Quananet or Mount Hamader, with the vicinity of Mount Hermon. The border continues southwest Shipper, and then south towards Riblah, and then around the east side of Aaron, and onwards into the eastern side of the Sea of Galilee. The town of Aaron may be identified with one of the springs that serve as the sources of the Jordan River. The boundary extended to the eastern side of the Helena Valley, descending from the Sea of Galilee, excluding a narrow strip of land on the eastern side of the Jordan, up the lower slopes of the Galilee Heights. From the Sea of Galilee, the borders then followed the Jordan River down to the sea salt, a distance of about 60 miles through the river itself. Meanders back and forth over a distance of more than 100 miles. Moses fulfilled the task given to him, and the responsibility to carry out these instructions will fall on Joshua, son of Nun, his successor. The distribution of the land by lot, according to the relative size of each of the tribes, was completed under Joshua. This allotment applied to the 9 1/2 tribes who lived on the western side of the Jordan River, whereas the other 2.5 tribes were already received their atonement according to the description in Numbers chapter 32, verses 33 to 34. The borders reflected the ideal territory limits for the land of Israelites as highlighted by divine instruction. But this was not fully realized until the time of the United Monarchy under David and Solomon. Of the original 12 spies sent to assess the land, only Caleb remained as the leader of a tribe for the territorial atonements. With the new leadership responsibility placed on the shoulders of Joshua, his place as a representative for the tribe of Ephraim was assumed by Camilla, the son of Zephathah. This special allocation during the lands among the 12 Israelite tribes for the Levites to live in and pasture land suburbs around the cities for their flocks and herds acquired through the collection of tithes and offerings from the Israelites. From these settlements, they and the priests could teach the people the law of God, a virtual concern if the nation was to learn the statutes and perceptions of God. Parallel to the encampment of the priests and Levites around the tabernacle during the wilderness journey, the theocratic state organization was that the Levites provided a visible presence among the 12 tribes to remind them of the need of holiness and righteousness as the people of God. The 6 cities of refuge were needed in order to maintain purity in the community. The 3 cities on the eastern side of Jordan as. Then it reads, Then ye shall appoint your cities to be the cities of refuges for you, that the slayer may free there, which killeth any person at unawares. And these shall be unto you cities for refuge from the avenger, that the manslayer die not, until he stand before the congregation in judgment. And of these cities which ye give 6 cities ye shall have for refuge. Ye shall give 3 cities on this side Jordan, and 3 cities shall ye give the land of Canaanite, which shall be cities of refuge. These 6 cities shall be a refuge both for the children of Israel and for the stranger and for the sojourner among them, that every man that killeth any person unaware may flee there. If there smite any with an instrument of iron, so that he may die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. If he smite him with throwing a stone wherewith he may die, he die. He is a murderer, and the murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if he smite him with a hand weapon of wood, wherewith he may die, he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. The revenger of blood himself shall be slay the murderer. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him. But if he thrust him out of hatred, or hurl at him by laying wait, or that he may die, or in admittedly smite him with his hand, that he die, he that smote him shall surely be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenge of blood shall slay the murderer when he meeteth him. But if he thrust him suddenly without enmity, or have cast upon him anything without laying or wait, or with a stone wherewith a man may die, seeing him not, and cast it upon him that he die, and was not his enemy, nor saw his harm, then the congregation shall judge between the slayer and the revenger of the blood, according to their these judgments. And the congregation shall deliver the slayer out of the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to the city of his refuge, whether he was fled, and he shall abide in it unto the death of the high priest, which was anointed with the holy oil. But the slayer shall at any time come without the border of the city of his refuge, whether he was fled, and the revenger of blood find him without the borders of the city of his refuge, and the revenger of blood kill the slayer. He shall not be guilty of blood, because he will have remained in the city of their refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the slayer shall return into the land of his possession. So these things shall be done for a statute of judgment unto those throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses, but one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die. Moreover, ye shall not take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is the guilty of death, but he shall be put surely to death. And ye shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refugees, that he shall come again to dwell in the land until the death of the priest. So ye shall not pollute the land where ye are, For blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Defile not therefore the land which ye shall inhabit, wherein I dwell, for I the Lord dwell among the children of Israel. And the chief father of the families of the children of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, the families of the sons of Joseph, came near and spake up before Moses, and before the princes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel. And they said, The Lord commanded my Lord to give the land for an inheritance by lot to the children of Israel. And my Lord was commanded by the Lord to give the inheritance of Zebulun, our brothers, unto his daughters. And if they be married by any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel, then sure shall their inheritance be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be put in the inheritance of the tribe whereunto if they are received, so shall it be taken from the lot of ours inheritance. And when the jubile of the children of Israel shall be, then shall their inheritance be put into the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received. So shall their inheritance be taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers. And Moses commanded the children of Israel according to the word of the Lord, saying, The tribe of the sons of Joseph have said well. This is the thing which the Lord doeth, commanding concerning the daughters of Zebulun, saying, Let them marry to whom they think best. Only to the family of the tribe of their fathers shall they marry. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from the tribe to tribe. For every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. And every daughter that possesseth an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel shall be wife unto the one of the family of the tribe of her father, that the children of Israel may enjoy every man the inheritance of his fathers. Neither shall the inheritance remove one tribe to another, but every one of the tribes of the children of Israel shall keep himself into his own inheritance. Even as the Lord commanded Moses, so did the daughters of Zephalah. For Mala, Tarzara, Hoglah, Mekana, and Noah, and the daughters of Zephalah were married unto their father's brothers' sons. And they were married into the families of the sons of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of the family of their father. These are the commandments and the judgments which the Lord commanded. And then the speaker notes say, was 3 cities later designated on the western side of the Jordan are delineated. Bezer in the Ribonite of territory of southern Transjordan, Ramoth and Gilead, and the Galilee Halan, Golan and the Bashan. The 3 cities of the refugee on the western side of Jordan were Kadesh, Skidon, and Hebron. These deaths involving deliberate use of lethal weapons or deliberately personal attacks were considered murder, and therefore were not covered under the guidelines of the cities of refugee. Murderers were to be executed by the revenger of blood, a designated kingsman to the deceased. The Hebrew word goel here is the same term used by the family redeemer. He was the one who redeemed property or persons from another man. The avenger of blood was a kinsman who redeemed the life of an individual by taking the life of the murderer. The promised land was to be a holy land, free from the impurity shed of blood. The 6 cities of refugee provided a sanctuary to provide the lives of those convicted of manslaughter. It also served as a place of banishment for offenders. If a person was placed under the protection of a city or a refugee but then decided to leave the city, he could be subject to execution by the blood or avenger. City elders were responsible for assessing each case to determine the nature and cause of a person's death. Atonement was offered to the person who had committed manslaughter only through the time of the high priest's death. Thus, that the person was required to remain inside the city until that time. Murderers who sought refuge in these cities were not protected under the law. Capital punishment for willful death cases was to be carried out by the city after the elders had determined that the death penalty was justified. The final section addresses the issues of the numbers of witnesses necessary to bring in a murder conviction, the prohibition of monetary composition, and the lay of praying a proper penalty for the crime, and theological basis for maintaining justice in the land of capital cases. Patriarchal leaders of the Machonarite tribes of Manasseh feared that if women married outside their clan, the land of atonement might go to some other tribe or clan. This would upset the balance of distribution. The years of jubilee occurred every 5 years. After seven sabbatical years, during the jubilee, property that had been brought and sold among various tribes and clans reverted to its original tribal owner. The customs maintained the balance of land and wealth distribution among the 12 tribes. The law in Leviticus addressed the matters of purchased property, but not the inheritance that of inherited land. During the jubilee year, various debts, such as those of indented servants, were forgiven, and individuals were freed of financial and other obligations in order to rebuild their lives. Jubal is an angelized word from the Hebrew word jovel, ram's horn, which was sounded in to usher in a year of celebration, redemption, and restoration. The adjudication of the case came through the Lord's instruction to Moses that would permit the women to marry the person of their choosing, provided they marry only to the family of the tribe of their father. Hence, a loophole from the earlier case was closed. The faithful adhere to the instruction from the Lord is highlighted as the daughters of Zebulun did as the Lord commanded. These words remind the reader of the central theme of the book of Numbers: faithfulness to the Lord's instruction. In conclusion to the book of Numbers summarizes the position of the Israelite nation as a poised through to inherit the promised land. Throughout the book, references to Israelites' faithfulness have been defined by the phraseologically did just as the Lord had commanded. The laws of Torah and the extensions of cases in various settings of life in the book of Numbers must be the foundation of. Then it goes to the next page. And then it ends by saying, by the hands of Moses unto the children of Israel in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho. And the speaker notes say, the community of faith as they enter the land of Canaan as the people of God. If they are faithful and obedient, the blessings of the covenant relationship and the inheritance and practice safety will be there. But if they do not follow the Lord's commandments, their lives will be beset by oppression from without, foreign enemy attacks, and from within, plague, civil war, and natural disaster. And that ends Numbers. So how I take that is, close that, but how I take that is that God always has a plan for each of us that He set in motion when you were born. Like, even before you were born, He had a plan for you. And God gives us free will to decide if we want to align with that plan or if we want to kind of go by our own plan. And I can personally speak for myself. I have strayed away from that plan many times. And even now, I'm still trying to talk to God and really understand that plan. And I'm asking every day to understand that better, because I know at times it's easy to kind of fall away from that and kind of lean on our own understanding. And I think that Numbers really highlighted how many times that people kind of fell away, and God still, that shows how loving He is, because the Israelites kept falling away from God. He was persistent in forgiving them, giving them another chance to follow Him. And even though they didn't follow Him right away, it took them, which is why their descendants ended up passing away, and this is like a new generation entering the people. Even Moses didn't make it because he didn't follow God's commandment. Not God's commandment, but what God told him to do as far as providing water for the Israelites. He told them to hit the rock once. To speak to the rock and not hit the rock. And Moses hit the rock not once but twice. And I was watching a video, and it was basically explaining why that was so bad, because at first I didn't really understand it, but apparently God was using that as a sign to show that Jesus would die for our sins once, so that we don't have to bear punishment for all these sins, like every time, like for sins like being sexual and immoral, that sin is death. And every time we would do that, you would technically die. But we don't do that now because Jesus died for our sins. But when He struck the rock multiple times, it was symbolizing that Jesus would have to come twice, which isn't true, because that's not the message He wanted. That's why Moses didn't inherit the promised land. And it just shows that disobedience to God, it will hinder you from reaching your goals. And not necessarily every goal that you have will come true, because if the goals that don't align with God has in your plan, then it won't happen. And that's something I got to be comfortable with, because I keep trying to plan out how I think life is going to go, and every day God's like, yeah, no, this is a new plan. And that's why now I'm at a point where I'm kind of just leaving it all to God and just letting Him kind of work and cook, because I'm asking Him to make my will, His will, my will, because I've been trying to do so much for myself and trying to think like, oh well, this is gonna happen, this is what I want to happen, all this stuff, and it's honestly just been, it's stressful as far as trying to like know everything that's gonna happen, and it's stressful at the same time not knowing what's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, if you trust in God's plan, I wholeheartedly believe it's all gonna work out, and that's something that I'm leaning towards understanding more. And I think that He had me finish Numbers to kind of really understand that, because at the end of the day, He said that He was gonna get them to the promised land. He got them to the promised land. It wasn't the same people. It wasn't that generation of people. But He told Abraham, "I'm gonna bring your people there." He didn't say what generation, but He said they're gonna get there, and they got there. So I think it's a beautiful message. And tomorrow we'll start on Detrimony, I think is how you pronounce it. Um, but yeah, I hope that this reading helped you. I know it helped me as far as trying to apply the word to my life, because I feel like Numbers really shows like the disobedience that we have as far as humans. Like we constantly disobey and live for the world until you fully give your faith to God, and then that's how you break out that cycle. But until you do that, you're going to keep experiencing the same pain, the same tribulations, the same trials, because you're not breaking out of that by owning up to what you do and just saying, God, I need help breaking out the cycle, and taking Jesus as your Savior and your Redeemer, so you're not condemned for your sins. And that's something that I'm still learning, and I said I still have a lot of stuff that I got to work on, but this is a big step in the right direction. So I hope this helps you. Stay blessed, and I'll be back tomorrow.